appreciate it if you guys could support the show. If you can, of course. These are the ways you can do it. You can do so through Patreon, Rockfin, Cash App. Links are all in the description below. And you can also, of course, click that little join button. You can become a member of our YouTube, our MCSE Premium stuff, where you can watch all the live streams after, so you can replay all the live streams. We'll be doing some YouTube exclusive live streams for our premium members. And like I said, just wanted to offer another way for people who wanted to support the show, but wanted to keep all of their, whoever they support. A lot of people support a lot of people on YouTube, and they want to keep everything centralized. So this is our way of accommodating them. So you can do that by just clicking the join button if you want to become a YouTube Premium. But also, of course, no matter what, follow us on Rockfin, follow us on Odyssey. Those links are also in the description. You can, of course, pull out your phone, scan the QR code if you're watching from your TV or your iPad. It'll take you directly to our website. All right. So we're going to do Pelosi. That's what y'all wanted. What they got to say? What happened with Pelosi today? She won. That's what happened, unfortunately. But it's actually worse than what you might think. It's worse than what you might think. So Nancy Pelosi wins yet another term as House Speaker. Gasp and surprise. It says November 18th, House Democrats re-elected Nancy Pelosi to lead the party as House Speaker Wednesday, despite losing seats that left Democrats clinging barely to a majority. This is the part that everybody should see. Pelosi ran unopposed, as well as House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer and House Majority Whip Jim Clyburn. 3 Democrats have held their positions for 14 years, people. 14 years. I'm not surprised Nancy Pelosi won. I'm not. I wouldn't even have been surprised if she won by a large margin in the vote. I wouldn't be surprised by that. I'm not surprised Jim Clyburn won. He's been a good little Samuel L. Jackson from Django. What I am not necessarily surprised at, but at least flabbergasted by, is the fact that Nancy Pelosi and her leadership resulted in more seats being lost by the House in an election year where Joe Biden supposedly got 8 million more popular votes than Barack Obama, in an election where Trump is so supposedly ridiculously unpopular and everybody who supports him is considered to be unpopular. And yet those Republicans began taking seats in the House. They maintained the Senate. And even Trump himself, of course, still got, I think he beat Obama's record by like 5 million votes. Nancy Pelosi basically didn't win Dems anything. She lost them stuff. She has been like the single greatest homewrecker to progressive legislators. And AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, people who plan on being in Congress, working in Congress under Nancy Pelosi, working in Congress under Joe Biden Democratic presidency, people who supposedly support Medicare for all, single payer health care, support UBI. Y'all ain't have nothing to say. Nobody. Like, y'all just witnessed Nancy Pelosi assist in the theft of trillions of dollars, the largest wealth transfer from working class to the elite class in the history of this country. And nobody runs against her. No one says anything about it. No one even challenges her. At least make it known. Like, look, because of our careers. Like, you could say that. And like, I would actually have more. Look, they are telling me that if I even support someone against Nancy Pelosi, that it would destroy my career, that they will refuse to work against me on legislation like single payer healthcare, like UBI, like some of these bills to end the wars in Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq, the end of genocide in Yemen. They're telling me if I supported anybody or if I ran for speaker, that they would stop all those efforts, that they would refuse to work with me on those efforts, and that they would engage in a smear campaign against me. So no, I'm not going to endorse anybody. No, I'm not going to vote for her. I'm not going to run. But that's because I want to continue to push legislation for the people. And I'm trying to work with them as much as possible in doing so. But I'm not going to pretend like I support this pick. Say that. Say that. Say something. Everybody talking about some student debt cancellation. Yeah, actually canceling student debt's a good idea. Duh. Like, it's not real money anyway. Like, bruh, student debt is fake money. I don't know if y'all know that. That's not what schools use to pay for school. Schools use athletic money and research grants to pay for their campuses. This whole idea, and endowments, of course, for the bigger schools. But this idea that like that Nikki Haley was putting out there, that you're going to be bailing out big institutions. No, and well, first of all, y'all ain't had no problem with bailing out big institutions before. So if you're going to bail out big institutions anyway, because that's inevitably going to happen, you might as well at least, for a change, bail out the people also. Like, that wouldn't be too much to ask, I don't think. But in addition to that, you're not bailing out universities. Unfortunately, you'll be bailing out the federal government because it's y'all's loans. Y'all have probably been factoring in, like, oh, you know, when people pay back their student debt and we get enough people in student debt, it'll start chipping off some of this military industrial complex money we've been wasting. No, it's not real money. I don't know if y'all know this. Y'all ain't hear from me. But there's a bunch of different court cases out there that have already exonerated a lot of people from paying back their student debt. Just saying, you can get it taken off your credit. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you. I'm not telling you how to do it. I'm just telling you what you possibly could do. But I digress. Back to Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi does not still support, like, these people, AOC, Ilhan Omar, all of them. Bernie isn't in the house, but he's been screaming it too. Everybody talking about cancel student debt. Then why didn't y'all like support somebody who also supported that idea? Or why didn't you say, hey, Pelosi, if you want our support, you need to cancel student debt, or say you'll support legislation or introduce legislation to cancel student debt? Something, please. I'm not even saying you gotta be an asshole. Like, I'm not even suggesting that. Sometimes you gotta be, but I'm not. I'm just suggesting, act like you're not controlled opposition. Act like you are more than something, like you're something other than this random blue check on Twitter who is literally getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, plus healthcare, plus a plethora of other benefits, and who I think in a couple more terms, all of the squad, quote unquote, can retire. Like, pretend that you're more than just some glorified rage tweeter with benefits. That's all I'm asking. Put pressure. What is the point of having 10 million followers for AOC? What is the point of all these minorities in Congress and all that cute shit that everybody wants to focus on now instead of the actual issues themselves? Like, what's the point of having all that representation if you're just going to let old white women do what old white women do anyway? I don't get it. I said back when they were talking about challenging her leadership due to her, failure, at least her perceived failure, because obviously, once again, Biden is being considered the president-elect. And even though all these popular votes went into his favor, somehow, some way, House Democrats started getting L's. And they were pretending last week as if they were going to challenge Pelosi. Not only did they not challenge her, she went unopposed, and so did Jim Clyburn, and so did Steny Hoyer. What you mean? So like, why did y'all pretend to be so mad if y'all were not only going to vote for her, but not even try to run against her? And that's what it comes down to, people. They're probably terrified of trying to challenge Nancy Pelosi, someone who is entrenched in the Democratic power structure, while there is a Democratic president. It's probably much easier to challenge Pelosi under Trump. It would have been. Because now you try to do that. You see what happened with Tulsi. Tulsi, one of the main attacks on Tulsi when she first got out the gates, not even in 2019, I would say in 2018, 2017. One of the main attacks on her was she went and, marched and lockstep with Barack Obama on rhetoric. She challenged Barack Obama a lot. That's not an attack. It's not an attack. But, and that was in an environment where people were a little bit more tolerant. Now, if AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, even Cori Bush has been decent so far. We'll see what happens when she gets to the Hill. But if any of them try to challenge Nancy Pelosi while Joe Biden is the head of the Democratic Party effectively, you're done. You're done. I guess you could tweet all you want, but like, if you're not getting on the floor and challenging her legislation, which you won't be doing because Biden's in power, like, then what's the point of y'all being there? I'm just so confused. I don't know why y'all are there anymore. It's cute, Ilhan got rich as hell, giving her husband's firm $3 million for consulting fees. They consulted on something. AOC is AOC. She's about to be rich as hell for the rest of her life. Signed with CAA, talent agency, so she's going to be good. Rashida Tlaib is already a successful lawyer, and she'll be retired. I think Rashida is the best out of the four, but they're going to leave rich as hell. All kinds of endorsements and sponsors, book deals, squad. And what do we get? Has any of your donations to any of them panned out for anything? We can't even get 14-year failed Democratic leadership out of office after they fail again. We couldn't even. No, I'll take that back. Was it Pramila Jayapal? Jayapal did get the House to vote on single-payer health care legislation for the first time in history. But I think it just went to the committee maybe, or got held up somewhere, never to be discussed again. What are y'all there for? With the House majority, they passed CARES Act. They don't pass any bill to end the war in Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq. Y'all vote to constantly inflate the military budget. You vote to remove Tulsi's provision to hold presidents accountable for war crimes. You vote to remove that. And then don't say anything about it. Allow it to happen. The only person that talked about it was Tulsi. But AOC with 10 million followers on Twitter didn't say anything about removing a provision. Literally, Tulsi's No More Presidential Wars Act got all the way to Trump. Trump obviously was not going to sign it because he likes committing war crimes, or he's getting away with them if he does commit them. Gets sent back to the House. The Democrats take out the No More Presidential Wars Act. AOC and them were nowhere to be found. After constantly whining and complaining about wanting to hold Donald Trump accountable. So what exactly did y'all get? Green New Deal, yay. Green New Deal.